Hello, this tutorial is going to cover item maintenance and how to create items and learning the database in future POS. So the first thing you're going to do is log into your back office with your employee number and password. And then you should go to the dashboards automatically, where you can click items, or you can go into maintenance and click items. So this is the item maintenance screen. It's not lost on me that there is lots of settings here under item maintenance, and we're going to cover a great portion of those settings today. Many of the settings here only a very small percentage of customers will use, so there may be some things that we do not cover in this tutorial. And if you do have additional questions on them, you're going to want to call support, and they will be sure to answer those questions. So first, let's talk about database organization. If you click the down arrow here and you look at your database, you're going to notice that we organize things under BEV for non-alcoholic beverages, under FOD for all of your food items, under LIQ for all of your liquor and beer items, under LIQ/BEE, BEEB, and BEED if you happen to have draft beer as well. And then WIN for wines. And then your modifiers will start with XMod. When we do databases, the reason that XMods are your modifiers is because we did want to alphabetize those to be all at the bottom of the list. So the first thing we're going to do here is we are just going to create an additional non-alcoholic beverage. So if I click on my down arrow, and we're going to create an additional juice. I'm going to click on beverage-JUI-cranberry. When you're creating a new item, what you want to do is you want to go and find an item that is already in the database if possible. Also consider what modifiers might be attached to that item. If there are modifiers attached to an item that's in your database already, that is very similar or the same to the item that you want to create, size, temperatures, other modifiers might already be on it. You can go and find that item and use that item as the template to create your new item. So when creating a new item, we are going to create an apple juice by typing in your description, apple juice. Copying that, I use Control-C, but you can also right-click and go to copy, and then paste, apple juice, Control-V, or right-click and paste. Modify your price if it does have a different price. And then you're going to click File and Save As. What Save As means is to take all the changes I just made and all the settings that were already on that item and save them as a new item. So I click Save As, I click at the end, I back up to just the dash, and then I go ahead and paste again, apple juice, and now I've created a new item. And just so you're aware, if you click File and you point at Save, see where F2 is here, and F4, those are the keyboard shortcuts that I've been using in case you don't remember. For trying to speed up your programming, you can use keyboard shortcuts of F4 to save as and F2 to save. So now if I look at my database, you're going to see that my apple juice shows up in alphabetical order with all my other juices because I left bev-jui in the front of it and just changed what was after that dash. Now this is just for alphabetizing. Could you just create an item in your database called apple juice? Yes, but you need to keep in mind that that apple juices would alphabetize with the A's, and it would show under all the way up at the top up here underneath A, rather than being categorized with all the other juices that are in your menu. So let's look at some of the settings in here to give you some more advanced knowledge of them. Description. If you're on auto menus, this will be what shows up on your button automatically, and this will also be what shows up on your reports. receipt description. This will be what shows on your customer receipts and in your kitchen if you do not go under the order printers function and define a custom description to print to any of your order printers. If you do define this, you could type in, for example here, if we just wanted to put APPJUICE, then on the main printer, apple juice would just print as app juice on the main order printer. Department. When using auto menus, this will put the button on the screen automatically that has been mapped under auto menus to the bev juice department. If you need more information on this, I recommend that you do watch the auto menus tutorial and it'll give you more information on that. Quantity available, -1. Anything that is set to -1 in future POS will be able to be sold forever, and future POS will count it, but it will not be on any kind of countdown. Quantity available 0 here would mean that the item is not available to sell. Quantity available 10 here would mean that you could sell 10 of those items before the system automatically 86 those. And in the manager training tutorial, you would see how to make those adjustments from the front of the house as well. Item UPC. The item UPC is only used if an item is barcoded, like a bottle of beer or a soda that has a UPC code on the side of it. If you were doing that, then you would highlight this area and then use your scanner to to scan in the barcode, and it would put the item UPC. Something that is commonly done here that we see is that people are going in here and backing up when they're creating items here, and they're retyping in apple juice. That is not something that is need to be done. If you do not click an item UPC and you just change the description and the receipt description as I showed you earlier, then this item UPC will get updated automatically when you do your save as to the new information. So if you just again type in twice here, do not type into UPC, it will automatically change on your next. Default price. The default price is the price that something will sell at unless there is a price schedule that is set up to change the price. As you can see on this particular item, there is just the default price of $3.50, but as you can see, there has been a price schedule created for Wine Wednesday here. So if we go underneath our wines, we will find an item underneath wines that has a price that changes, and it is the bottled wines. So this Wine Wednesday price schedule is set to do the Wine Wednesday prices at half off on the schedule. That is what these schedules would be for. If you want to see more about price scheduling, you can actually just go underneath the price scheduling maintenance, which is under other maintenances, and it's here. And you can see that this is the Wine Wednesday, what time does it start, and what day is it on, and you can also actually set that up to start and end on a specific date as well. Item and store chargeable should generally be selected on every single one of your items. This would be whether or not something is allowed to be put on a house account or not. If it is not checked, you will not be able to put that item on a house account. Item is a modifier. Item is a modifier and follow parent item are generally always checked for all items that are under the Xmod or modifiers section. So if we go here, we would see food, plantains. This plantains is a modifier, and it says item is a modifier and follows parent item. Print item double wide, that would basically make it print on an order printer twice the size as it normally does. This is not an option that is generally used. Print item in alternate color, that is an item that is used for all modifier items. We want those to print in red on the order printers for modifiers and black in the order printer for non-modifier or items. So if we go to an item, we would see that that is not selected. Taxes. Taxes basically are the tax flags that are going to be going with your specific items. So the items in your system will have taxes that are set up for them. So you can see here that these wraps have food tax exclusive. Exclusive tax versus a VAT tax. An exclusive tax is a tax that is added on. So if you do a $6 item, it would add 6.35% in Connecticut to those items in order to give you the total. A VAT tax item would take that item of $6 and back out the 6.35% for those items, so you would be responsible for the taxes. This setting would generally be used at a bar that does tax-inclusive drinks at the bar, and when you ring those up, they will just be charged as 2 beers at $6 a piece at an even $12, and this is generally a speed of service related issue that some people do choose to use. Order printers, we already looked at that. These are the order printers that these items will print to. You can just check what order printers that these particular items would go to. Auto menu settings. Auto menu settings are related to how this button is going to show for an auto menu. If you go to a normal item and you go to auto menu settings, it generally will always say match auto menu. In the auto menus, these things are already formatted to what color and what type of text and what are they going to look like. If you wanted to change how that is defined, as we do when we do headers, here is a header. We go to auto menu settings. We have changed this button from whatever color the category or department has in it to black. That way, when you look at these particular items in the database, if you look at a header, all the headers are black. We've just changed the colors, and then everything else in the auto menu department is all purple here, green, and blue. Okay, so modifiers is next. Of course, modifiers with feature have the ability to be set up in many different ways. I'm going to cover regular modifier items, modifier groups, and creating items and adding them to groups, and then taking groups and adding them to items. That's something that's very important if you use Future POS, is that we create items, we put them in groups, and then we attach the groups to the actual cell items. So if you know those 3 steps when you're creating modifiers and putting modifiers on items, then you will be able to successfully do modifiers very well. Miss one of those steps and you definitely will get confused because your modifier will not work properly. So the first thing we're going to do is just create a modifier item. These modifiers are all in here as xmod-f for food, A to Z, so these are the A to Z modifiers. If you go into the modifier screen of food modifiers, and then you click add, no, sub, light, and on the side, that's where all of these are stored. So we're going to do a another item here called, let's see, red onion. I have a red cabbage, a red mole, a red pepper, but I'm going to do a red onion. So I'm going to click on the red mole, and I'm going to click onion, type onion, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it. I'm not going to charge for this modifier. I'm going to hit File, Save As, I'm going to click at the end, and I'm going to paste it, red onion. So that is how you create a modifier item. But the reality is that we need to get this modifier into a category. When we're going over categories, what I like to do is show people temperatures, because temperatures are something that everybody has a keen understanding of. Right now we have medium rare, well, and all the different temperatures in here. Right up above it here with the stars, or you may have equal signs there, you click on that and you click edit modifiers, and you will see that rare, medium, well, and well done are all here. Those are the actual items, or modifier items, that have been added to the category. The description up here is what it's going to say at the top of the category when prompted on the screen. So if we wanted this to say choose meat temp, then we could. If we want to add an additional modifier to this group, we would click Add Modifier, and then we would scroll through and find the modifier item that we wanted to add to it. So we got xmod-f-m for meat temp modifiers. Let's try that again, xmod-food-mtm. And there they are right here. I'm just going to add rare again to this category, and you're going to see now that it just shows up at the bottom. You can either have this set as sort by name, which will alphabetize all of these, but as you can see in this category, that's not how we would want this to show up for this customer. So we would go under custom sort, move the rare to first, medium rare, medium, well done, and medium well. We want to get rid of, because we just added rare to this again, we can highlight something and hit delete modifier. Then we have some rules. For the temperatures, we want the person to have to select one of these items or they cannot order the item. User must select a minimum of 1, user can select a maximum of 1, and then bypass OK. So what would happen in that situation is I would hit New York strip steak, it would prompt up, I'd select whatever it is that I wanted temperature-wise, and then that screen would go away automatically because I clicked bypass OK. If you are using an item that has more than one category on it, you would always want to click Use Multi-Column Modifier Selection. So now that I have a category, I've created an item, and I've gone over categories. The next thing would be is to add that meat temp mod or whatever mod that you're using to the actual item itself. So let's go up to our database up here full of items, and let's look at our entrees. Let's go to hanger steak, and let's click Edit Modifiers. So on this one, you can see that the meat temp modifier was added to this particular group. You can also see that there's a happy face here. This is one group added to an item. Anytime there's one group added to an item, we're going to want to click Default Modifier, click, click, click. User must select a minimum of 0, maximum of 0, and bypass OK. What that's telling the system is to please just go into this category without having to select the name of the category in order to be able to get into it. Let's look at a different item that may have multi-column modifiers associated to it. Let me just find an item here that may have that. All right, so this has two modifiers in it, add chicken and add chorizo. So when we did that, the modifiers basically are just added to this item, and then use multi-column modifier selection is selected, and this will make it prompt up with the modifiers in the multi-column. On the left would be the add chicken part, and on the right would be the add chorizo part. So let's actually go and look at some items here. So let's go to tequila, and let's go to Avion. I'm sorry, I neglected to create a check before I did this, so we're just going to create a check real quick. 2 people. Now we have seats in order to be able to add items. Bombay, seat 1. So this is a multi-column modifier. So here's all the multi-column modifiers. These are going to be a category: gin mods, glass size mods, mixer mods, prep mods, and garnish mods. If we look underneath these categories in the actual system, or if we go and grab one of those items, let's go under liquor, vodka, absolute, and click Edit Modifiers. We can see that these are all the categories that have been added to this item, and Use Multi-Column Modifier selection has been selected on this. we were to actually drill down and go into one of those modifier groups, xmod-liquor-glass size, edit modifiers, we would see that all the items that are in this group have been added to this particular group. So right underneath it, glass size, here's all the items themselves, and here's the group, and we just add those items to the group. If you have additional questions about working with modifiers, creating items, please give our technical support a call, and they will be able to go over this with you. Thank you.